let's talk about the market performance last week and of course yesterday. Now, analysts see the market was up. Definitely, we're continuing our bullish run, but volumes are weak, especially yesterday we saw volumes going down. Now, what is your take on what's responsible for this? Some analysts say it's because we had a holiday over in the US yesterday, and that's why we saw volumes sort of slow down.
Well, you won't be far from the truth if in an exchange whereby 80% of the transaction is being done by foreign investors. So you could expect something that anything that happens to the American market, whether in public holiday, which affect the share price. And when you look at some of the stocks that are actually, the stockbroking firms that actually do the transaction for them, most for the foreign investors, you will agree that actually that must have been what has had the low volume in terms of transaction yesterday in the market.
Now, Muktar, for you, looking at the outlook for the week, and we've been talking about the stock market being at recovery levels. An analyst is saying the market will record some level of profit taking during the week. With this news, do you see us continuing with this positive performance?
Well, the market these days is not being driven by investors. I like saying it's been driven by speculators. It's a different thing altogether. Now, some of these investors are not, speculators are not ready to stay too long in the market. If somebody have gone an appreciation of a stock like GTB started rally from about 15 naira about a month ago, and now rallying at 18 naira. Some of the investors want to take profit. And also, when you look at other stocks that are there, you say that most of them want to take profit. It's a speculator market at the moment until we have the liquidity. Liquidity is still tight, and most of the liquidity are coming from foreign investors, which are also sometimes not very good for the market too, because like you rightly pointed out at the beginning, once they are on holiday, the volume gets down. So until we have imbued liquidity from the stockbroking firm and from high-yield investors in Nigeria, like pension fund administrators, and that will continue to have things like this.
But give me your take on what sectors you see coming to the forefront during the course of the week. Of course, the building and material sector performing quite well. Anytime Dangote Cement does well, we see the market up. Banking sector also doing quite well. We're seeing stars like GTB stepping up. Union Bank also performing quite well. First Bank not so well, although we saw it performing quite well during the course of last week.
Yes, First Bank was performing so well during the course of last week, maybe due to the news that came in that First Bank will be part of those companies that will manage the sovereign wealth fund. I think maybe that contributed to the rally in First Bank, and knowing fully well that First Bank is trying to develop a holdings company structure to may have also helped in that. GTB is driven by its very good result that it came out with during the week. So you expect the rally to continue before profit taking comes in. And most investors are not really so impressed with the dividend payout of 25 kobo. So definitely by the time we get into the close of the book for the dividend payout, we could see GTB coming a little bit down for other people to take position. But you made mention of the other sector. I think it's one sector that has been driving the market that people are not really looking at. But the problem with the sector is that in terms of volume is very, very low. Sometimes you don't have to get the kind of volume you want to get from there because their share standing is a little bit low. So that is why that sector is not highly trading like the banking sector that you have a lot of volume. And now for the banking sector, the only bank that is left, which is result hasn't come in, is Assar Bank of half year. So we'll continue to see the market trailing with caution from investors.
But certainly, there's some sectors that are performing quite well, which can push the market up. In the food and beverage sector, we're seeing Cadbury, you name it, flour mills, Dangote, sugar. What's your take on this sector and, of course, that sector driving gains on the market?
When you look at that sector, there's no harm that sector should not be driving gain. When you say food and beverage sector, it's food. We have a population of over 160 million. It's something that every day people buy one thing or the other. So you expect it to continue like that. Dangote sugar is have about 90% of the share of sugar in Nigeria. So that is also expected. Then you look at Cadbury. It's a stock that just coming out from the wood and making almost a 50% profit after tax. That's also a good result. And Shonda has driven it. Dangote flour is even at the moment still control high stake of the flour market in Nigeria, and also flour mill. So when you look at it, even Dangote flour is almost beginning to export flour outside, and Dangote sugar have even said they will start exporting sugar. So when you look at all this, you realize that There's no need, there's no how that the food and beverage sector will not be moving the sector everywhere. When it comes to consumption, every day everybody are involved in such things.
And of course, we have specific stocks like in the pharmaceuticals, we have GlaxoSmithKline, which that stock has performed quite well. But let's talk about our laggards for the week. I mean, which sector do you see continuing to lag behind? Certainly, I know you're going to say the insurance sector. That's a sector that has been doing
It will continue to lag behind as far as they are not, the corporate governance in that area is poor. And again, in terms of fundamentals, it's still very, very weak. So you continue to see that, and you realize that most of the insurance sector were owned by the bank, and some of these banks are de-investing their holding because of the CBN policy. So you continue to see the sector will continue to lag behind. But then it's one sector that investors have, speculators are really well into, and that could not be far from why it's lagging behind, because it sells at numerical value and sometimes it moves to as 51, 52. And the speculators are really in that sector, so to make money. So you continue to see that sector lag behind. Then maybe when you mentioned the GlaxoSmithKline, but you have to look at that sector in terms like the same problem in terms of volume is not always very available. So, but I think the insurance sector will continue to lag behind. And maybe apart from Access Bank that we're expecting results, we're expecting a little bit of activities. There may be a little bit of a slowdown in gains in the banking sector. But normally this time of the year is not a time that the market normally goes up very well. But so we expect that from we're in the month of September, from end of September to October, where we begin to hear the Q3 result. We expect the market to pick up.
Now, going forward, I mean, certainly, let's talk about the macroeconomic factors that may hamper or may push forward the performance of the market. We do know MPC is coming up this month, and certainly last month there was a shocker with the CRR that sort of threw off the banking sector. We also may have with inflation numbers as well. What are some of the factors that you think we should watch out for when it comes to the macroeconomic factors that may affect the market going forward? And I would like to add the power sector. I mean, we have recent news of our power minister resigning. How does this all play into our market performance?
Well, you've said it all. It's all, nobody knows what the CBN is going to come up with. They are the one that will know what they come up with. What if for me, I think they might maintain what they did last year, leaving everything as it is. But you wouldn't know because the inflation data is not yet out. Right. That also will determine what one will be expecting from the CBN. But when you talk about the power sector, you could see until his resignation, there was a considerable improvement in the power, and that is still continuing. But for how long that will last, nobody knows, because at the moment
it could impact our market negatively.
Of course, negatively forward. Definitely, just like that, impact the market sometimes positively, because you see that some small and medium scale enterprises use less of power, diesel and fuel.
Well, Muktar, I mean, I have to end there. Our time has run out. I'd love to continue that discussion, but thank you so much for joining.